This video is for any beginning bass players out there. I'm going to show you a few shortcuts that I wish somebody had taught me when I was just getting started. You know, I found when I was first learning I was a bit confused and overwhelmed by music theory, real technical music theory, and these are little tricks that you really don't need to know any music theory at all. It can help you if you're just trying to jam with somebody or if you're just trying to make up your own riffs and whatnot. So when you're first learning, I wanted to point out, I'm playing on a 5-string bass in case anybody finds that confusing. A traditional bass has only 4 strings. This one has an extra thick string that makes an extra low note. We'll call it the low string, even though it's actually highest from the ground. It's there you go. So don't be confused. If you're playing on a 4-string bass, you just sort of ignore that string and work with what you got. So to start out, if you don't know the names of any notes or anything like that, you really got to use your ear. And as a musician, you always have to use your ear, but you particularly have to if you don't have any music theory knowledge. So let's say we have a friend that's playing a chord on a guitar. I'm going to play a chord here, and it really is just a chord. There's nothing interesting going on with it. But we're going to sound it out. We're going to find it just by playing the notes until we go, ah, that sounds like it. So here we go. Ready? So okay, I found it. It's that note right there. It's this one right here on that string. So now that is called our root note. When you listen in the chord and you hear that note that say, ah, that's the main note in that chord. There we go. And you can do that with a piano. You can do it with any instrument that's playing a chord. And now, a bass is a bit different than a lot of other instruments. Technically, a bass can play melodies and such, just like a guitar, and a lot of times you do. But in a lot of genres of music, the bass is a really rhythm instrument. So you're really focusing on the rhythms. You're working with the drummer, the kick drum, especially trying to synchronize your beats with the kick drum, your notes. And you can do a lot with even one note. So I'm going to quickly do a little one-note riff here. Here we go. Nothing too flashy, but you can really concentrate on if you're going to do steady or holding a note or a slide like I did, or do a slide down too. Right? You don't have to know any knowledge to do slides. You just slide your finger and stop when you hit the note, or start and go down. So the next note I'm going to show you is called the octave. The octave is the same note as the root, but it's higher. So the way to find the octave, one of the ways, is start on your root note, and you go up 2 strings, up being higher notes, higher sound, and over 2 frets. So here we go. And now you can make a lot of rhythms between that. And that's going to sound great with the chord because that's the root note. Now, the next note I'm going to introduce is called the fifth. The reason it's called the fifth is because if you go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, there's 7 notes and it starts over again at the 8th note. So the 5th one up, do, re, mi, fa, sol, is from here. It's this note. And how do we get to that note? Is take our note, you go up 1 string and over 2 frets. So the octave is up 2 strings over 2 frets. The 5th is up 1 string and over 2 frets. And here we go. You can even play them at the same time. Don't typically do that on the bass unless you're way up in the higher notes because it can get kind of muddy sounding. But so here we go. So pretty much anytime you're playing a note, you can kind of play the 5th of it and it's going to sound good. So now you can use a whole arsenal of, and I will point out the 5th also, you can play the octave below the 5th. Now that's just from the root, it's just 1 string down. So, and the reason it's 1 string down is if this note here is the 5th, and we're going an octave lower, we go backward 1, 2 frets, down 1, 2 frets, and here we go. It's the octave lower. So now we've got a little arsenal of notes. We play our chords. another thing you might notice from this lower fifth, it's very commonly used in mariachi music or country. Like, you know the whole riff that goes. Right? That's based on that root in fifth, lower fifth. Also, reggae uses that a lot. It's just, it does a different rhythm usually. It's like. So the next note I'm going to introduce is called the fourth. Again, do, re, mi, fa, do, re, mi, fa. It's the fourth one, so it's that note. And the way you get to that is just the string above the note above the root note. So here we go. And you can also do the octave below that, which would be from the fourth here, down 2 frets, down 2 strings. So, and listen to this. That's Jeopardy. So that note there now we can incorporate, and the fourth and the fifth, you see they're just 2 frets away. So if I'm going, I can do it down low too. And those all are going to sound good with our chord that we're playing. Okay, now the next note I'm going to introduce is the seventh. Now, the seventh again, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. It's the T note. Now, this seventh, it's not really the seventh. It's actually called a minor seventh, which is a half step down from what the normal seventh would be. So if the normal one was, excuse me, that's it. We're not going to play that one. We're going to play half a step down. So it's from the root, it's up 2 strings. Don't move over at all. Up 2. Or the more useful one, well, not more useful, that is just 2 steps down. This is the lower octave of that, which is just from our root down 1, 2 frets. So the octave. And that is all going to sound good. So now we can add that into our mix with our other notes that I just showed you. So here we go. All right, so now we've got the root, the octave, the fifth, the fourth, and the minor seventh. So that's a good handful of notes. The next note we're going to have to, the next note I'm going to teach you, you're going to have to know a little music theory. You don't really have to know it, but you have to have an ear to discern, because this is the third. Do, re, mi, fa, do, re, mi, mi. The catch with this one is there's a major third and a minor third, and they really don't sound good if you play the wrong one with the wrong chord. So if somebody's playing a major chord and you play a minor third with it, chances are it's not going to sound good. And you, what's that? So here's a distinction between a major chord and a minor chord. Listen here. I've been playing the whole time. This is a major. And this is a minor chord. And notice the minor chord sounds a lot sadder, moodier. So to play with the major, we'll start out. The major we've been playing with all along. Here's where it is. Here's our root. It's up 1 string and this time down 1 fret. And when you play this now, up until now I've been doing a lot with my first finger on the root note. It's helpful to play with your middle finger on the root note here, because this one you can reach now with your index finger. So if you play them on a higher note, here's the octave, and the octave of that third. Kind of sound nice together, because that's what a guitar chord is. When you play them higher on the instrument. When you play them low on a bass, it tends to sound muddy. It doesn't always work. So with that now, look at this. We've actually got a string of 3 notes on this next. So here's our root, and then we've got our major third, fourth, and fifth. You skip that one there. So all right. So, and you can do it here too. So now you've got a neat thing to work with here. Minor third, on the other hand, is 1/2 step down. Generally, minor means it's good, the note relative to the major version of it is a 1/2 step down. So here we go. We've got our root here. Again, now I'm actually playing this one off the ring finger, and so just so I can reach over here, it's up 1 string and down 2 frets. And I'm going to put on a minor chord and play a little bit with that. And there's actually 2 places you can play this note. Is here, and also on the same string as the root. If you put, now this time you got to use your index finger on the root, and you go 1, 2, 3. It's 3 frets up. So hear that same note. But depending on what you're playing, sometimes it's more convenient to hit it here, and sometimes it's more convenient to here. So here we go. I can play you a little dab with the minor third. And I wanted to point out that there's some neat things that happen with this minor third. The minor third, if you play it in this position, if we're using the ones that I showed you, the root, the 7th, the 4th, and the minor third, there's this box. See this? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a box there. And listen to some of the things that naturally come out of that. Kind of lends itself to just jamming really fast, right? And then the 4th and 5th, 1, 4, 5, right? The 4th and 5th, you can actually play the lower one here, and look at this, you get another box. Root, 4th, 5th, and minor 7th. You can put those 2 boxes together. So I hope that's clear what these boxes are, because this is really fun for jamming. You would be able to get real creative without, again, technically knowing a lot of music theory. So put the root, 4th, 5th, 7th, root, and then minor third, and 4th again. So now look at this. Okay, that note there, ignore that I played that one. It was force of habit. It's not one of the ones I just showed you. So now we've got the major third, the minor third, and actually with that minor third I just showed you, we have a thing that in music theory they call the pentatonic tail. It's kind of a pentatonic scale. Penta means 5. It has 5 notes in it. So it's skipping some of the notes in the do, re, mi scale, but here we go. It's a root, playing it here, minor third, 4th, 5th, minor 7th, root, octave. So look at this. Kind of bluesy, right? You can play it up here too. I ran out of strings. I'm not going to go into how to hear it. You can actually play it up here, but we're not going to go into that right now. Do it by ear. So that's a good starting point. I think stay tuned for another video, and I'll show you a few more tricks, but hopefully that should get you on your way to being able to jam with people.